We're very nervous about remaining with an administrator for any longer than we have to. This area has been without elected representation in our local government for the last 2.5, 3 years. And this would exceed that by another almost 2.5 years. There is no necessity for that to happen. Things are happening within council, decisions are being made that should be left for elected representatives, should not be made by an administrator. However, we have no ability to stop that because we have no voice on council.
The local government minister, Wendy Tuckerman, was herself an administrator, we understand, and made this decision presumably on advice from her people and the council itself. She says that it's to do with two-pronged, to do with it would cost too much to have an election prior to the next round of council elections in 2024. What do you say to that?
I'd say that's a nonsense. That there is no need. The picture I see, if we had an election now, whether that was in September this year or September next year, we wouldn't need to have an election in 2024 when everyone else goes to the ballot booths, because we just on the Central Coast we just have an extended election term, which isn't unusual at all. Most councils that go under administration for whatever reason that is do have elections outside the normal election period. So it's going to cost money, one way or the other, it's going to cost money. It makes no difference.
You being a councillor for so long, what are the sort of day-to-day things that the community's missing out on right now, do you think?
They miss out on a voice in committees. So the committees that are, if there are any committees in existence right now, they're not successful. They're pretty haphazard, and we're seeing a lot of disconnect between those community members that are on those committees and the council. In a democratic council, there'd be a process which ensures that those committees, which are there to serve a purpose, they're there to give members of the public, our representatives, a voice in things like planning or women's issues or libraries or all sorts of things that happen on a day-to-day basis in council. That's not happening now. It's not happening.
Our rates have gone up in at least significantly in the southern part of the Central Coast, and the water rates are due to go up on the 1st of July this year. Now, this happened under administration. The administrator said it was necessary to pay back loans. What's your feeling on that?
Well, those loans were made on, I don't really understand the whole issue of the financial status, but they were made on precarious footings, I guess. And like it or not, we are burdened with those loans. In other areas, let's take Hornsby. Hornsby was identified as being as amalgamating, but then they easily talked the government out of it, and I think that's to do with politics. Hornsby was able to remain an ordinary council, not amalgamating. It also was given $90 million to spend. We were given, $20 million. 20 million was dangled in front of our eyes when I was a councillor, and 2 lots of 10 million as carrot to approve amalgamation. And that 20 million was gone before amalgamation even arrived.
Now you voted. Central Coast newspaper was in the council chambers when that vote happened. You voted against it, the amalgamation, although the slim majority voted for it at that time. Why did you vote against it?
Because the public hadn't had proper consultation. There'd been a couple of 3 meetings over the northern and southern parts of the Central Coast. And despite those 3 meetings coming out against amalgamation, the state government still amalgamated us. And yes, there was a slight majority. It was because of the political makeup of the council that did that. So despite the government at that time saying we will consult with the public, they consulted, the public said no, 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 and the state government said yes, yes, yes.
It was, do you think that if we had not amalgamated, that we'd be in the same position that the council is in now?
I don't know that.
Well,
but I do know that they were already 2 very large councils before they were amalgamated. Now they're the 4th largest council in New South Wales. They're bigger than the ACT. They've got more people than Tasmania, more people than the Northern Territory in this little area, but we don't have the infrastructure. If you go to any of those places, I've just been to Tasmania a few months ago, the infrastructure in Launceston, with 90,000 people or something in their city, is much, much more than we've got. And we're never going to have that. Never. We're a city between 2 big cities. We're never going to have that. We can pretend all we want. So they put us together and promise us squillions, promise us the earth. We've had nothing since. Nothing.